Hello, Chris.
What's up, Dominic?
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Man, great. I got a wonderful co-host in you. You know, we're here, episode 4, the Elevate
cry.
Cleveland podcast. Chris, like I said the other day, I was thinking about literally wait till we see on like our thumbnails episode 100. You know,
It's got to be big.
Yeah, it is. It is. But we're gonna bring it back. We're not there yet. We'll bring it back to episode 4. Again, my name is Dominic DiFranco, alongside
Chris Doyle.
Excellent. We have a wonderful guest here today.
Yes, sir.
A like-minded individual in our business, Mr. Mike Incorvaia.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for
How's it going,
having
Mike?
me in. Going good.
Awesome.
It's a love fest between you guys here. That's
Yeah, yeah, we're good buddies here. You know, we're accountability partners for each other. We help push each other.
Everybody needs one of those. I just hired one, actually.
Did you?
Oh, yeah?
No kidding.
Yeah, to try to help us get healthy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like just like physically, you're saying health-wise, the diet
Yep.
and all that.
Yep.
There you go.
She's got me drinking celery juice every day.
Total switch up, huh?
Oh, my God.
You're used to the chicken parm and the pastas and the
betcha.
gnocchi and all that,
You
right?
betcha.
So, Mike, let's go ahead and just real quick, if you can, just explain to our viewers, everybody listening, who it is you are, what it is you do, and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm kind of an old guy, so it's going to take me back a little while.
That's
but,
fine.
So I ran in a successful insurance business for almost 35, 40 years. And back in 1995, my wife Sylvia was deciding what she wanted to do after bartending, so she decided to go into real estate. And she got into real estate in 1995, and she started doing pretty well in the business. And then in 2003, I decided to get my real estate license because she was getting so busy she needed some help. Hold an open house, run a buyer when she was busy with a different client. So I told her, I says, well, let me jump in. Even though I was in the insurance business full time, I thought, it'll be a good idea to get my license. So I got my license, and that was the beginning of our real estate journey together. She built a pretty good business. And in 2006, she was the top agent in her company at the time, which was Realty One. They're no longer in business here in town. And we were then recruited to come to Keller Williams, who was kind of new in town. So we came to Keller Williams because it was a business model that was certainly different. And I've been around this business watching her before I got in, and now with the time since I got licensed for about 25, 26 years. And Keller Williams was the first company who really changed the industry. They kind of uncoupled the business model to put most of the emphasis where it really belongs, which is on the realtor.
Okay.
So things have changed so drastically in the last 10 to 15 years since Keller Williams came along that it's kind of, I kind of liken it to the when the phone company broke up. You had one big Ma Bell, they called it, and it broke up with all these little pieces.
Yep.
But when Keller Williams came along and started putting all the emphasis on the agents, giving the agent more control of their business, more money, more decision making, then a lot of the other companies had to change their business model. In business, either you change or you die.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was a big change for us. So when we came to Keller Williams, I was a husband with a license. I really hadn't done anything in real estate. And I really never, have done a lot of sales or anything in real estate. But when we came to Keller Williams, an opportunity opened up for me to become an owner of a franchise in the Westlake Keller Williams office because I had proven that I was able to go out and convince some agents, you guys need to take a look at this business model. I think it really is something that's going to change the industry, which it has. Mm-hmm. So I got the opportunity to buy that franchise, and I became the operating partner of the Keller Williams Westlake office. We had about 45 agents when I took it over in 2008. And then in 2015, I consequently ended up selling that. And when I did that, we had about 250 agents. Wow. Is a really a fast-growing company. At the same time, I had been licensed with Sylvia and Mike Jr., who got in the business a few years after I did, in the Strongsville Keller Williams office. So in 2014, I think it was, I became the operating partner of the Keller Williams Strongsville office. But what happened was on this journey, when I was the OP of the office in Westlake, I saw people starting to put teams together. And I said, you know what, this is really the thing of the future. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is about the agent and growing a business, and then you create a team by having a need for leverage. Mm-hmm. So when I sold the Westlake office, the main reason for that was I wanted to focus on our personal business and our team. So, so back in 2014 or 15 is when we really started focusing on building our real estate team. A lot of people in this business today will go out and they'll start teams before they really have a business.
Yeah.
You've got to be producing at a level that requires you to get leverage. Me getting my license and starting to help Sylvia was the first step for her to build that business. I was her first leverage, somebody who could do some of the things that she wasn't able to do. And too many people in the business, I see them build a good business, and then when it's time to hang it up, they're done. And they don't have anything to show for it. They never really built the infrastructure to keep it going. We really kind of had no choice because we have Mike Jr. now who's helped us take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And but leverage is the most important thing, in building that team. So it's been a pretty crazy journey. We're currently at about 40 agents on our team. We have 5 licensed administrators, and then Sylvia, Mike, and I. And I mean, the whole thing is Sylvia was the one who built the business and built the brand, and I was behind the scenes before I was licensed, marketing her and helping her build her brand.
So you got in at 06, right?
03.
03.
Yeah.
So you experienced the recession and everything.
Yep.
I mean, I'm curious. Like, I know Hesh Sagafi, our CEO, tells us all the time how difficult it was even staying in the business. Anyone related to that in our industry at that time was very difficult. I mean, how was it for you?
It's funny you say that because, like, example, in 2004 and 5 is when the market peaked. And then it started going down, and then 07, 08, we started having a crash. But as far as real estate agents are concerned, we had about 1.3 or 4 million realtors nationwide. It went down to about 800,000. Well, guess what? We're back to about 1.5 million right now.
All right, yeah.
Because everybody thinks this is such a great market. It's time to get in. The fact of the matter is there's a pie. The pie is so big. In a market like this right now, it's just everybody's getting smaller pieces of the pie.
Yeah.
But those people that have built themselves a brand that clients are attracted to them, they're still doing business because people always have to sell homes no matter what happened in the market. You still have people that get divorced that have to sell. You have people that are getting relocated, out of state. You have people that go into, senior living or whatever and have to downsize and their homes have to be sold. So all of that stuff still continues. Right now, for the past, 8-10 years, it's been just crazy because we're experiencing these ridiculously low interest rates, which nobody understands. Nobody your age understands. My first interest rate was 10 1/4, and 6 months later it was 16.
I think in the 1980s it was 18, as high as 18%.
I bought
inflation was also
March of '79. I was 10 1/4, and then 6 months to a year later it got as high as 16 or 17.
That's insane.
And you'd have to pay points to buy the rates down. It was crazy.
We also have ridiculous home prices these days too. I mean, home prices back in the 70s and 80s are very different than they are now. I mean, you slap a 16% interest rate on that versus a 16% interest rate on today's. You know what I mean?
My first house I paid in Parma, I bought a house for $45,000. Had to have 20% down.
Really?
My house payment was $377 a month, and honestly, I was wondering how in the world are we going to make this payment every month? I mean, it seemed like we have lease payments on our cars that are much higher than that now. But that's just the way it was. But
that was what year?
79.
79.
Yeah.
Wow.
45,000. You can't even. A customer comes to you, hey, Dominic, I want a $45,000
I'm not
loan.
your guy.
Yeah.
That same house today is probably about 125 to 150,000, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's no way it should be 150,000, but it probably is.
Yeah. So for you, like one of the things you said is you see a lot of agents or people who get into it like for the business model as far as like having a team, and then they fall off once they're done. For you, obviously, I would say if you're pointing that out, that's not your mindset. You're not trying to be into this to just say, okay, when Mike Incorvaia Sr. is done, the Mike Incorvaia team is done as well. what have you been doing with your business, and how is your business structured specifically by you and your wife Sylvia and Mike Jr., your son, to allow it to become a legacy brand, like Marcus Ogden says, that lives on beyond Mike, Sylvia, and Mike Jr.?
So, Chris, remind our viewers again who it is we are and what we do.
Hey guys, both Dominic and I are loan officers here at Liberty Home Mortgage. So if you or anyone you know is looking to purchase or refinance a home, please email us at the elevateclepodcast@gmail.com. Subject line, looking to purchase or refinance a home. Email's in the description.
So with any business, and the funny thing about real estate, and I did insurance for 35 years, and the thing about the insurance is I just retired this past March. I have nothing to take with me. Mm-hmm. Okay. But our business is no different than if you're an attorney, an accountant, and our business is the acquisition of clients and the retention of those clients. Mm-hmm. And your database is your business. Mm-hmm. So if you build a database and you work that database, as long as that keeps happening, business will continue to come in even after you're gone. So, and now bringing Mike Jr. in the business, he's been doing this for 15 years now, and he is like way light years ahead of where we ever were.
Yeah.
He's consistently.
He's got good mentors.
Yeah.
I mean, but having two parents going through, I mean.
Yeah, he watched and he, he picked up a lot of things I think that have helped him. But in his particular situation, I have to brag on him a little bit. He's very good at what he does, but primarily he's an unbelievable networker. Yeah. I mean, he can't go anywhere without running into somebody he knows. You go to Costco and it's a 2-hour trip. Yeah. He's running into, 3-4 people. Because he's, we primarily, not primarily, but we do a lot of business in Strongsville. That's where we've been for all the time we've been there. And he grew up in Strongsville from the time he was in kindergarten all the way through, and he knows tons of people. And then you were a wrestler, so he was a wrestler at the high school. I was a coach there. Yeah, we still have relationships with all the parents, and all the kids he wrestled with are all, buying houses and having families and second houses, and it's just it's just staying in touch with people. It's just having a database, whether you're touching that database personally, in person, or whether you're doing it through, traditional methods, whether it's emailing or whatever.
So retaining that database, is that something that you and Sylvia just kind of learned throughout the years? Did anyone teach you that? And is that advice you give to a lot of newer agents?
Well, it's the advice that everybody needs to have. I mean, honestly, we have really never maintained a database until recently. We have all of the sales, of course, that we've done over the past 15 years, and they've just recently been put in our database. But when Sylvia started 26 years ago, there weren't that many options for a database.
Just write it down.
Fax machines had just came out when she started. So
26 years. I mean, that's going back to Chris and I's birth.
Yeah. When they say put it on the books, they mean physical books, not Dominic, not your Excel spreadsheet.
But it's just, as I was walking in the building today, I got a picture. One of my administrators texted to us a picture of something that was dropped off at our office, and it was a client who we just closed a house. Her son unfortunately passed away, and we just sold the house for him, for her, and she is a past client of Sylvia's that we've sold 2 times over the past 15 years. Mm-hmm. So just staying in touch with those people. Now, we've done it because, like in Strongsville, where she happens to live, many of the other cities as well, but in Strongsville, I've maintained a lot of print advertising just to let people know we're still there. I mean, our brand in Strongsville is pretty prominent.
Like mailers, billboards?
I used to do mailers, and I recently started doing them again. Excuse me. And we have done this. There's a magazine. It's called Mimi Vanderhaven. It goes out once a month. It's mailed to every home in the city, and they do their advertisements are more like the articles.
Sure,
but it's really advertising. And for what I was paying for postcards, I mean, I was able to reach 30,000 people for what I was able to send 500-600 postcards. Yeah. So it made more sense. So we've never missed an issue of that magazine in 15 years.
Do you think that form of advertisement is as effective as it was? I mean, because you have a lot of people like our generation, typically they don't look at their mail. Typically it's email, social media. Like, how do you get your news,
Yeah, right, 100%, the same exact way. I'm not looking at any newspaper or anything that actually comes in the mail. So I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
So
I guarantee you that it's probably not as effective as it once was.
sure.
It's inexpensive. It's just become a part of the budget. And when you have, when you're doing a certain amount of business, you need to have in your budget what works best for you. I mean, the thing about branding, especially in real estate, when you're just branding, it's with us. It's always been Sylvia. She was holding a sold sign and jumping in the air at the same time while she's holding the sold sign. Now I have all of our marketing, there's a picture of her standing on top of the Strongsville Water Tower holding a sold sign on top of the market since 2005.
Yeah.
So just little things like that have made people recognize her. I mean, we've been in the hospital in the emergency room and somebody's come up to us and said, I know you, so we know that it works, and it's the cost to do it is just something that it's just part of the cost. But we also do a lot of social media.
Mm-hmm.
We do some email marketing, of course, and now with the database, we could do text marketing. We could do all kind of different.
I don't think there's really anything you can go. Well, I mean, obviously you want to track your data with it to see like what's most effective, what's not, and obviously pour money into the things that are more effective. But I think with any marketing, any way that you are putting yourself in front of that consumer or potential consumer in the future is super important, because it's like Hesh's thing. Like he'll say, I'm not, like, my number's not even on the billboard, he'll say. It's just simply mind share, so that when you see Hesh Sagafi and the Bell Liberty Home Mortgage, when you go to think, I'm going to buy a home or refinance, you think Hesh Sagafi, Liberty Home Mortgage, right? It's mind share. It's just capturing that person to be able to think, when they think I need to list my home or I'm going to go look for a home, I'm calling the Mike Incorvaia team.
Yeah, it's actually the Incorvaia team, and it's really Sylvia's team, but but you're exactly right, because mind share is more important in my mind than market share.
Yeah.
And in Strongsville, as an example, I was just looking at the numbers today. Since 2005, we're close to 1,000 homes in Strongsville that we have sold. The number 2 person behind us is at around 300.
And how many homes are in Strongsville, you'd say?
Well, we have about, this doesn't sound like a big number, but we're at about 6%.
6%
of the annual sales are the
Incorvaia team.
Yes.
That's a huge number. I still feel like.
But I feel like we can get it to 10 easily.
But what was it first to second again? Say that stat.
So we're at about 1,000 homes since 2005, and then the next closest person is around 300.
Jeez, oh man. Yeah. I mean, that's obviously taking up market share as well.
Yeah.
Over
if you have the mind share, the market share will follow.
That's right. 100%. And obviously a big feat for the Incorvaia team this year, 2021. You guys have surpassed $200 million.
We did. We just we passed
$200
million of sales in the past almost 12 months.
And December's not even over yet.
Yeah, we still have a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks left. So we're excited about the future. There's a lot of good things that are going on. But getting back to the branding for a second, it's hard to track sometimes. Like we've advertised on shopping carts.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people come up to Sylvia and say, I was shopping with you, and we haven't done it in 2-3 years. But maybe there's one cart scattered out there somewhere. But so it's shopping carts, it's billboards. We recently took on, we're trying to do some business up at the islands, a Marblehead and Put-in Bay up there. So billboards up there are everywhere.
Right.
And they're pretty inexpensive. So I've got 11 billboards up there currently.
Really?
Okay.
Now, we haven't done a whole lot of business. We're just trying to break in, but but everybody's noticing. And the funny thing about it is most of the people buying homes up there are from Cleveland or Columbus.
For sure. They'll get second homes.
Yeah.
They want to be able to go there on the weekends.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I love Marblehead. Marblehead is beautiful.
Yeah, we bought a home up there last year, so that's the reason why we decided to.
The Marblehead, Put-in Bay area.
Yeah.
Awesome area. So if you can, take me back to 2003 when you got in, and then 2006 you had the opportunity to become a franchise owner, correct?
Correct.
Okay. From 2003 to 2006, what was your journey like in the business in that time that led you to the point in 2006 where you were confidently able to sign on the dotted line to say that, yes, I'm willing to invest in this business platform and then ultimately to grow it as well. You signed to grow it as well, to not only acquire, but to grow this.
Yeah, so from 2003 to 2006, I was just a husband who had a license sitting at Realty One, helping Sylvia when she needed some help. It's when they came knocking on our door. Keller Williams, when they go to a new market, of course, the company's pretty built out now. I mean, When we joined the company in 2006, there was around 60,000 agents nationwide. Right now, there's 180,000 worldwide. They're the largest real estate company in the world by agent count.
Wow.
And a lot of it, to me, the most important thing about the company was I loved the business model. I liked the fact that you can get 100% commission once you paid the company a certain amount, what we call a cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also have this thing called profit sharing. So if you help the company grow, then those people name you a sponsor, and it's like a multi-level marketing type thing. EXP is doing something similar right now, being very successful at it.
Yeah.
So in 2006, when they came knocking on our door and said, you know, we have an office that we just opened in Strongsville. We want the number one agent in Strongsville, who was Sylvia at the time, and we'd like to talk to you. Well, like a blockhead, I didn't want to hear about it because I really hadn't researched it or anything, and I just said, you're doing really good here, you know. But it really was a life-changing experience for us because it allowed us to go with a company that gave us opportunities. And the biggest opportunity was I had the opportunity to buy into this market center. When I say I was the owner of the franchise, I was the legal owner on the franchise document, but I didn't own 100%. We all had partners. Most of the offices around here were opened up with 5 or 6 realtors buying into it.
Okay.
And then those realtors were usually people of influence that would bring other realtors to the company.
So KW's model different from other brokerages and everything. How do other real estate teams, how did they do their business models?
So Keller Williams was the first, well, I shouldn't say the first company. So up until, let's say, 1980 or so, most companies were just what we call traditional companies. You became an agent, you got a split. Most of the splits back then were 50-50. You guys being in the mortgage business understand a split. So what happened was in the middle to late 70s, RE/MAX was the first company to start giving the emphasis to the agents. So they came out with this. Their model was not as much of a traditional. Their model was more of a landlord-tenant type model. So let's say I bought a franchise and you guys were both agents. You'd come in at 100%, and instead of you giving us part of your commissions as a split, you would pay rent, help share the expenses.
Okay.
It was called a desk fee. Those desk fees were good for people that were productive, okay? But realtors, like everybody else, you make 30 grand one month, and the next month you don't have any money, and you're struggling to pay your $2,000 desk fee or whatever. Yeah. So Keller Williams came about, and they had, you could earn your way to 100%, but you're on a split till you get there. Once you pay the company a cap, then you would go to 100% commission. Okay. But everybody had the same opportunity. Everybody was treated equally. At most of the traditional companies, what happens is the bottom 2/3 support the top 1/3. So they would give the top producing agents a higher split. And they would tell you, keep it secret, don't tell anybody. Really? But everybody knew what everybody was doing. And it just kind of created chaos. So when Keller Williams came about with this new business model, it opened the eyes of a lot of brokers, and it created a lot of different business models. I mean, right now you can go to a company that's going to give you 100% commission and you only pay a small monthly fee and you don't really get a whole lot for your money. Or you can go to Keller Williams and pay your split, and then when you cap, you go to 100%. You can go to EXP and you can get a nice split, and then you cap, and then you can get some of your cap back in the form of a stock. I mean, there's all kind of different business models out there everywhere. But the reason Keller Williams has worked well for us is because it's really been about helping us learn how to grow a business.
Yeah.
Because it's really a training and education company. And it's worked very well for us.
That's awesome. Has KW? They've never changed their business model since.
No, they actually have.
They have.
They're actually changing their business model somewhat because if you don't change, you die.
Yeah. For sure.
As a matter of fact, they now have what is called a statewide brokerage. I believe it's in reaction to some of the other business models that have come out there. In fact, our team is joining the statewide brokerage in the next couple of weeks before the end of the year. It's not much different, but it'll allow us to expand throughout the city in one brokerage. In the past, if I wanted to recruit somebody in Mentor, for example, and they wanted to work out of the Mentor office, that was technically two different brokerages, two different companies. Now we'll all be in the same brokerage, which is important because, like in our situation, all of our administrators are licensed. They can legally only work for agents in our brokerage on our team. if they're in another brokerage, it wouldn't work. So that was one of the reasons I never really wanted to do any expansion.
And you're talking a lot about teams and everything and how important it is. But, you know, if Dominic and I are agents and we want to come on, you know, to your company and everything, I mean, what are you looking for? Is it skill-based? Is it experience? You know, do you have to be full-time or can you be part-time?
So our
what exactly
team,
are you looking for?
all teams are a little bit different. We run our team more like a brokerage where we take a little bit of everything. We have brand new people that we try to help and mentor and train and get them up and running. And we take experienced people, of course. The thing about our team is I think the reason it works well is number one, we're always accessible. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when an agent writes a contract and gets into a problem because of appraisal or whatever lender, you guys screw something up.
That's not me.
No,
that's Dominic.
there's always something goes wrong in real estate transactions. I mean, I could tell you 15 or 16 years ago before where we're at now, it seemed like you sold a house and you waited 30, 60 days and it closed.
Yeah.
Now you got appraisals, you got inspections. It seems like every house that you sell, there's issues on the inspection you got to get through. So we're there for our agents. Number one, we pay a very fair split on our team. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's really about the value you offer the agents joining your team. I think we have a value proposition that's second to none.
Yeah.
The licensed administrators for us is a big deal because, especially this year, you guys know how crazy the market was where agents are out there, you know, they showing a house and they got to write up this offer right now. Otherwise, they're going to get shut out.
Oh, yeah.
So in our case, a lot of times the girls, somebody showing a home would call one of our girls and say, can you get this offer written for me? Mm-hmm. And then it'll be all ready when she gets back to the office or home or wherever she goes. So having those people that can do that for the agents, but they have to be licensed in order to do that.
Sure.
And that makes a big difference.
Gotcha. But is there one particular thing that you look for in an agent? You know, is it good attitude or just like one particular thing?
It's like wrestling, Chris.
Okay.
I usually am a pretty good judge of character.
Sure.
I mean, certainly not perfect, and I mean people prove me wrong all the time, but I always am willing to take a chance on people. Mm-hmm. And I mean, at the end of the day, if they're not willing to put into what's necessary, they're going to be out of the business.
Fair enough.
You know, in our business, you know, when people get their license, 9 out of 10 sometimes will fail in the first year. Now, just because they fail doesn't mean they'll get out of the business. They might still hang on to their license, but it's a number that. You know, because they don't realize that this business is nothing more than lead generation. And you guys know that, you're loan originators, if you don't have anybody to talk to, nothing else matters.
That's right.
So you have to master lead generation. And in our case, with our team, I just tell the agents, you need to be out in front of mom and pop at the kitchen table or showing homes because that's where you make money. You don't make money doing paperwork and all the stuff that we've got, you know, the back end for you to be able to get that, you know, all that stuff done.
Mm-hmm. And Incorvaia was talking a little bit about, hey, an agent makes a $30,000 check one month and then you zero out the next month. I mean, for us being commissioned, I mean, yeah, there's no guarantee next month is going to be $1 million or $2 million month. You know what I mean? I mean, it's pretty scary going into that.
You can deal with a lot of ups and downs in this business. I mean, you can literally go from, you know, you have 5, 6, 7 loans on the board, over $1.5 million in volume. You think you're making a, you know, $25,000-$30,000+ check, and then all of a sudden 2 appraisals come in short and one person just backs out because they didn't like some of the things showing up on the inspection. Now you're looking at like, you know, an $8,000 month with 2 or 3 deals.
You know what this is?
What's that?
Pumping a well, man.
There it is.
If you don't have your pipeline full all the time, you're always going to be fighting that fight, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah, I think sometimes you always have to keep your foot on the gas pedal, man. Right. You really do. Like, because 10 closings, you go into a month with 10, you come out with 7, 8. You know what I mean? This
is my biggest pet peeve about agents in the business, and this is the reason why I am 100% convinced that a team like ours is really for most agents.
Sure.
Because, first of all, once you start doing 25, 30, 35 transactions a year, you need leverage.
Yeah.
You need somebody helping you input listings when you get one and doing all the stuff that's got to be done. Some offices still do that.
Yeah.
but some don't, and they don't do it to the extent that we do and all the marketing that goes along with it. And you need someone to help you contract to close, okay? The problem is most agents will think that they're doing themselves a favor by handling it themselves, okay? I'm at a certain brokerage and I'm earning a 70% split. I'm going to go over here and earn a 100% split. Mm-hmm. Sounds great, but at the end of the day, if you are doing 30, 35, 40 transactions a year and you want to continue growing, you are going to need leverage. On average, it's about 30% of your business is what it costs you to run team, a business, whatever you want to call it. So, if you could join something that's already plug and play for you, why wouldn't you want to do that? Because selling homes, listing homes is a totally different skill set than hiring and training administrators that are going to do that stuff for you. You guys are loan processors. Do you want to go do the things that the underwriters do?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not the same skill set.
Yeah. So for you, if we continue on with the team, obviously I think your natural response to this would be, yes, of course, you would want to join a team over being independent. There's a lot of successful independent agencies or agents who are part of brokerages. So then why, obviously I think you've been saying it, but why specifically join a team and more specifically yours than be independent?
Well, first of all, if you're new in the business, I think a team is a great place to start because you're going to get a lot more hand-holding than you would as a part of a brokerage. Mm-hmm. The pressure on brokerages is so much today to make a profit because of the uncoupling of the business model, and they're paying out more. Most real estate companies don't make a whole lot of money on the sale of the homes. It's usually the ancillary services, whether it's the mortgage affiliation they have, the title affiliation, the home warranties. That's where they're making their profit. When I was running the Keller Williams franchises, a big portion of the profit we were making was not coming from the splits that the agents were paying us because it takes a lot of money to run. In the future, you're going to see a lot of brokerages that become really, really team heavy and team focused. That is without a doubt, I think, where we're headed. And the teams that have the most value are the ones that are going to win in the end. Mm-hmm. Because people want to come and join something that they know, like on our team, if they join our team, they now have marketing. That, really good marketing, whether it's doing videos, whether it's, print materials, whatever they need. That's all included in what they do. We have a girl that does our social media, and she's created probably 75 posts for everyone on our team. Every holiday they're posting something or whatever the case might be. But all that is created for them in our case.
Yeah, I imagine there's a good bit of competition too. You and I every month, we're trading off 1 and 2 every month, top producers and everything, and it's good competition. You know what I mean? You hear a lot. I've heard it since I was day one of wrestling, but they always say as iron sharpens iron, so one man shall another. And it's very truthful because you can't get there on your own. You have to be able to, grind with somebody else who has that same kind of mentality. Right. So I assume that just the competition too, between different agents also helps, as opposed to just being, on your buyers, like lone wolf. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. So then how do you? Because your business is a lot of being in the field, right? It's not necessarily being in the office. It's the agents going out there and going and showing the homes, meeting with the clients that they're going to list the property for. So for your team as well, how do you help contribute towards building that camaraderie? Is there, hey, come in and we're doing prospecting hours Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to come in and let's dial together? Or is it team events monthly? Or how do you keep the camaraderie of your team when everybody's outside?
We'll have, some training sessions on different topics, whether it's, listings, working with buyers, working with sellers. Sometimes there'll be some prospecting things, but for me personally, for us, Sylvia and I, we built our business on marketing. That's pretty much what we know. If it's something outside of the realm, what I've learned is find somebody who's better than you to help teach that. Because everything that I've done in business, whether it was when I was in the insurance business or the real estate, I've always tried to find people that were better than me, which isn't very hard. Yeah. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
100%.
Absolutely. So I always try to find. When I was the OP of the Westlake and the Strongsville franchises, we would always bring speakers and other speakers from outside of Cleveland, to do trainings and seminars and things like that because it was, it was just they were better than I was or smarter than I was. And, it's just you have to be smart enough to recognize the fact that you want people better than you teaching, teaching the people that you're trying to help.
Gives you something to reach, like a goal.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be where I'm at right now, or even comparing yourself to people like if, you're having 8 closings per month. I'm not going to compare myself to someone who's doing 6.
Right.
I want to compare myself to someone who's doing 10, and then when I get to 10, I want to do 12.
Right.
When I get 12, I want to do 20.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Chase the person in front of you.
Exactly. And we've touched upon this before. I think we did it with our first episode with Marcus Ogden, former NFL player, now motivational speaker. We were talking about, surrounding yourself with the right people and being able to make sure you have good accountability partners. And his big thing is getting rid of those toxic people that in your life that are just weighing you down.
That's right.
And I think that's huge. So, just Mike, you want to talk on that a little bit? Do you see that? Is that something as important to you, just surrounding yourself with those important figures?
Yeah, we're pretty, we're pretty insulated from that. When we bring somebody aboard, and a lot of the agents that are in the business today, whether they're on our team or just part of brokerages, don't even come to the office very much. They just go out and kind of do their own thing. The ones that are really doing well are the ones that you see quite often. They're coming in,
really,
yeah. But you talk about being around toxic people. I saw something today on Facebook, a picture of a piece of fruit on a tree, and a rotten piece was touching it, and of course the good piece was starting to rot as well. That's a perfect example of what you're talking about. So you definitely have to, try to rid yourself of all that. But that stuff to me is like all airy-fairy. I've always been kind of a just put your head down and go do the work.
For sure.
Like, don't need the extra stuff. Just go work.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, I've said it at the end of the day probably 10 times already. But really, when it's all said and done, you have to just keep pushing forward and just keep doing things necessary to grow. So we continue to try to grow to this day, and I'm always looking for,
So Mike, you've been in the biz for a while and everything, and you've seen the ups and downs of our industry. Really, even before COVID, we were still having a little bit of an inventory issue. Not as bad as it was in 2020. Now we're starting to see some inventory come back, but we've talked about before, we can kind of predict where interest rates are going to go to a certain degree, but you can really never predict when someone's going to sell their home.
Right.
That's the biggest driver of the market is really, you have more inventory. That's going to have a bigger ripple effect on everything. Just give us a quick rundown. What are you seeing in the market right now? Where do you think it's going to go?
I think we're going to stay where we're at for a while. That could be maybe in the next 12 months or so. Inventory right now, as bad as it's been, it's actually worse now because it's December, and this is naturally.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Real estate has always been seasonal. I could show you history of the office, the team, everything. It's like you'll do 20% of your business in the first quarter, 30% in the next 2 quarters, and 20% in the last quarter. That's just the seasonality of real estate. Example, Strongsville, always around 200 to 250 homes for sale. We haven't been above 45 all year.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And that's typical. I was selling a rental property in Parma Heights about 6 months ago, and the month that I was selling it, and I looked, there was 1 house for sale. That's just ridiculous.
Parma's huge.
Parma Heights, this was. I'm sorry. Parma Heights, yeah.
You got it.
Yeah,
That's
back
insane.
when the market, supposedly crashed back in 08 or whatever, you would pull up Parma, there'd be 400 homes for sale.
Oh,
Still.
I don't think we've been over 150 in Parma, Parma's a big city. Between Parma Heights, there's probably 100,000 people there. So,
but the thing is, it's not even a geographic dilemma because we're originators. You're licensed in X amount of states. I'm licensed in 16. How many people do you talk to per day, Dominic, that are like, there's nothing out there. I haven't been able to find it. My pre-approval's been good for 6 months. It's really not just an Ohio, Northeast Ohio thing. It's
everywhere.
You could trace it all back to the crash, though, because builders started going out of business, and I think they said we're like, don't quote me on the number, but 3 or 4 million homes short that weren't built. If you look at new construction over the past, 10 years or so, you'll see a big drop off. So because those new homes weren't, and then you have a lot of people who are maybe downsizers and they want to sell their house, but they have nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's the dilemma you run into. A lot of people saying that, like, yeah, I could make a lot of money on my house, but then I got to go spend that money elsewhere,
Right,
you know, so I'm just
right.
going to hold. I'm just going to hold
Yeah.
for a little bit.
A lot of our issues today are derived back from 2008, right from the
Right.
builders. I mean, Strongsville you said 45 active listings.
We haven't been above 45, I don't think.
And
all
in a
year.
normal market where
A couple hundred.
that's insane. And that's, why you see people are always complaining, oh, home prices are so expensive. They're so
That's it
expensive.
right there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like when you have a shortage of supply like that and you have multiple
greater
offers, yeah, it's just economics, man. It's
Natural.
just going to
Yep.
naturally pull it up.
Yep.
That's why a lot of people are like, oh, there's a crash. Guys, listen, it's not like to
This is not the same as it was
Exactly.
in 08. In 08, we crashed for several reasons. One of the reasons was as you guys know, there was a lot of mortgage fraud
Mortgage
back in the
issues,
day.
yep.
You know, with stated loans.
Default.
How much do you
Nina's,
make? I make
yeah.
100,000 a year. Okay.
Put it down.
13% interest, you're all set. And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, I mean, there was just so much of that.
Yep.
That was a big cause for the crash. But the thing is we never really got hurt. That we personally, our team or our business,
Sure.
we still did great during that period of time. Did we sell as many as we are? No, we weren't as big. There weren't as many being sold, but we did well.
Does that, like going through something like that where it's a whole economic thing for a lot of people, does that teach you some sort of like perseverance and resiliency, you think, in business, to where it says like, hey, you just got to outlast these times? And just like any kind of stock of a company, right? You look at one specific section, you're going to see a lot of ups and downs, maybe a big downturn, but over the
Yeah.
long haul, you're going to see the green, right? Majority of companies.
Over a long period of time.
Does does something like that teach you that?
I think we learn, and you just have to somehow figure it out. I mean, unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember. I mean, I can remember high interest rates. I can remember silver getting to $50 an ounce back in 1980. When it was, went from 4 or 5. I mean, oil prices,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
All
crazy, but all the different economic situations that you can imagine, I have seen them, in the 70s and the 80s. And,
Yeah.
right now the times have been great for home sales. And I mean, these interest rates we bought a property up in Marblehead and got like a 2.5% interest rate.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
pretty nice.
that's insane.
Yeah.
You think it's
bad,
bad
right?
here inventory. It's worse up there because on
Oh,
top of
yeah.
not having any inventory, the people up there will pay anything they want because it's the second home disposable income, and they don't care.
100%.
I just
What
want
has obviously, like you said in the beginning, it's not the Mike Incorvaia team, and if it were to be a specific name team, it'd be Sylvia's.
it was the Sylvia Incorvaia team,
Yeah.
and then we changed it to the Incorvaia team. We're trying to get people to understand that it was more,
Sure.
But if it wasn't for Sylvia, we wouldn't be here today talking.
So
right
that's where I'm going to lead into my next question here. Is like you're obviously, and you guys have been married for how long now?
43 years.
43 years. Okay, so you're married to a
Got married when I
top
was
producing
12.
female agent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's obviously as to be in that role, right, to the point where Keller Williams comes back to you in 06 and says, hey, we want the top producing agent, which was Sylvia at that time. What has she taught you? Not only just outside in life and in marriage, but like in business, what has she taught you? Because I'm sure there's a lot that she teaches even the people in your office.
Believe it or not, she's taught me to be patient, which I'm the least patient person. But, she's really good with her clients. They really, when we go, a lot of times her and I go out together on listing appointments because it's like kind of bad cop, good cop.
Yeah.
She's the one that they really warm up to because she's more warm and fuzzy, and I'm
Yeah.
more direct and to the point,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it seems to work pretty well. But I have learned to step back a little bit and analyze things. Although she would disagree that I never, I never give anything enough time. I am pretty,
Right.
but she's persevered at this for a long time, and she's pretty steady at. Getting things done. She's good at overcoming objections and challenges and in transactions, figuring out a way to make things happen. So
Sure.
just a little bit more patience, I think, is probably the one thing that I take away from her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 43 years, with your wife, and you guys are, obviously in a romantic relationship, you're business partners as well. Are you
Yeah, that
guys
works real good.
Yeah, I was good.
We have our days, and then you throw in Mike Jr. and he's kind of a combination of both of us. So it's
there you
like
go.
it's like having a reality show sometimes. We always say the Osbournes have nothing on us. It could get pretty, but we're a family, and no matter what, we're through thick and thin, we're together.
You've obviously been
amazing.
able to make it work.
Yeah. Yep.
At a very high level too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What what do you do outside of work? What like contributes towards a healthy, balanced life for you?
Well,
and your family?
her and I like to travel a little bit. Of course, the last couple of years that's been messed up a little bit with COVID. But, we'll just go get away to a 3, 4, 5-day beach vacation. We don't do nothing crazy and gamble. We like to gamble. We go play the slot machines at least once or twice a week. Yeah. That's kind of our one habit that we have. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Mike, for you, you guys have obviously built a fantastic team. You're continuously going. What more is there to reach for you?
I think it's now just figuring out a way to continue doing what we're doing. I could see Sylvia and I doing this for another 5 to 10 years easily. But it's primarily just getting everything in the business totally tight so that one day when Mike Jr. is ready to completely take over, he'll be able to do that without any hassle. But, as long as I'm above ground and still, half a brain, I'll be able to, contribute some way.
Yeah.
We all have different roles on the team.
Yeah.
Sylvia does her things, Mike does his, I do mine, and it seems to work pretty well.
That's got to be an important part of running the business as well, is being able to plug and play, know where people's strong suits are,
right, and
trusting them to be able to accomplish their specific role and what it is they're supposed to do, right? And then from there, I think, if you have that, then you just have a group in sync, and then that's when the sky is truly the limit.
Yeah. I think it's just having buy-in. If everyone's bought in and trusting the process to from the very top down. Dude, guys, there's nothing you can't do at that point. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, there's going to be people that do drag you down, but obviously, sometimes you have to make the decision to, hey, is this really something we want you? Do we really need you here, or are you just dragging us down?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been fortunate too. We haven't really had anybody that's been that way with us. I mean, if somebody decides they're not right for the team, they're free to go do whatever they want to do.
Sure.
You take whatever you want, that you brought, you take it with you. Go out and do your own thing. Because a lot of times people think, I'm going to do my own team. Or, God bless you, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
I think that's why I don't have any factual data, but I have an assumption just from, different people I've talked to, but there's a lot of turnover with real estate agents. I mean, a lot of people that get into the business think they're going to make it big. Oh, my buddy Jake, he made $30,000 in the first 2 months. Oh, I can do this. Real estate is my side hustle. I hear that a lot. And then 6 months in, I haven't made a paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the 15, 16 years that I've been with Keller Williams, when I started focusing on recruiting, I was doing it to grow those offices, because when I became the operating partner and invested in those businesses, they had to make money. Otherwise, we're going to have to be writing checks to pay the bills, and that scared the heck out of me. So I did recruiting all the time, and I would go all the time, and I'd be at Hondros right over here. And people, I love looking at houses. I said, looking at houses has nothing to do with becoming a realtor.
Yeah.
You have to figure out how to get in front of people to list their homes, and excuse me, it's just acquiring and retaining clients.
Mike, the big thing that I want to ask you as we kind of get into our last 10 minutes here is, your duration of time in this business, you've established, created, and maintain a lot of business relationships. Even outside of real estate, let's talk with mortgage lenders, title companies, home inspectors, etc. How has that been for you, and how has it altered over the years with building relationships, and what does it do? What do you look at for it to be okay, yes, this is a mutualistically beneficial relationship where I want to partner with this person or this company, and I feel like we can both, mutually help each other.
Right. So it's always been really important to me to do business with people that are going to make you look better. Mm-hmm. Number one, they got to be really good at what they do. And I personally am not one. I know there are a lot of teams out there that'll, get one lender and the next 6 months later they got another one. I don't like doing that. I like building relationships with people and try to make it a long-term type situation, because I want to have relationships that are long-lasting, and we've had that with our title companies, with the mortgage lenders that we use. It's just got to be all win-win for everybody.
Sure. Absolutely. And do you? Have you had times before, or any relationships in the past where you've had to cut them off just because of Maybe
Yeah.
it wasn't the best fit for you, or you can notice like, hey, I don't think we're the best fit for you either.
Yeah,
or you're not the best fit for
we've had a
us.
couple of situations where people come in and they promise I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they'll blow it right away.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
right off the bat when they blow it, you know, you give them somebody to call, they don't call them right away. I mean, I'm a big person that, you know, like I'm known for answering my phone. I mean, that is key to everything because I watched Sylvia for years answer her phone. And I would hear on the other end, oh, my God. I'd say, oh, my God, what? You answered your phone. I mean, realtors are notorious for not answering their phone. I mean, I can't tell you how many sales over the past 26 years have probably, you know, resulted because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be accessible.
That's right.
And you've got to be, you know, you tell somebody you're going to do something, you do it. And you do it in a timely manner, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, over the past 25 years, obviously, you got to respond sooner. You know, because nobody's got the patience to wait. We're living in that instant society right now. But that's been really a key.
Yeah. Communication, I mean, it always goes back. I mean, even in our line of business, I mean, there could definitely end up being a mistake. Not on your stuff, but but there's definitely always going to be a mistake, you know,
Listen,
something you miss.
And it doesn't matter to me if someone makes a mistake, whether it's title, lender, us, whoever, it's not how you make a mistake, whether you make a mistake, it's how you react to fixing the mistake that is important to me.
That's right.
You know, don't start blaming everybody and this. Just figure out how we're going to get it fixed. That's all.
That's right. One of my mentor, Matt Lubtack, told me recently, he goes, you can action your way out of anything. He goes, you may mess up. You may find yourself in a position of life where you're just not happy with it. You may have said something stupid and now you're, you know, kicking yourself in the butt and you're wondering why the hell did I even say that? Action your way out of it. Just do the next best thing. Think in any situation, slow down, what happened, let me assess it, and then what is the next best possible thing that I can do to kind of action my way to a better result eventually down the road.
I mean, if you make so John DeJulius in his book, the relationship economy, and closer to the end of the book, he talks about an instance a couple years ago where I think they got like some type of, because he owns salon, like hair salons and stuff.
John Roberts, yep.
So one of the hairstylists ended up getting something like it's something that you can't wash off. I don't know, chemical or something on this lady's jacket. She was super PO'd, right? And they're like, DeJulius says, I'll take it to the cleaner for you. Like, I'll pay for it. And she says, no, like, it's not coming off. And she was super upset. So DeJulius ended up buying her a brand new jacket instead. Just like, listen, it's on the house. Don't worry about it. Like, we messed up. We made the mistake. It won't happen again. And like 9 months later, he went back into his database to just see if she had ever come back there, just to see. And lo and behold, like, she ended up referring like 9 other people who ended up being like lifelong, or from that moment, like very loyal customers to the salon. And I was like, see, like, even if you make a small mistake like that, responding to it is gonna that impressed the hell out of that lady. You know, maybe it was like a $500 jacket, probably a very nice jacket, and yeah, it sucks. But at the end of the day, he was able to respond to that, and I can only imagine how much money he ended up doing that.
Totally could have gone the other way too. I mean, if you like let your ego get in the way and get pissed, you know, and you like battle back, it totally have gone the other way.
Could have. Like, it probably wasn't even the stylist's fault. I mean, she probably just made a common mistake. But again, you know, how you know, the owner responded to it ended up bringing X amount of new clients.
That's right. That's right. Mike, as we wrap up here, I kind of know where Chris's last question is going to go. So I'm gonna make it almost the same. I'm gonna make it similar, but I want to take business 100% out of it. Right?
Okay.
Mike, you're how old today now?
66.
66 years old. In your 66 years of life, business aside, everything, what is a piece of advice in life to help somebody live a more fruitful life? To someone you could say who's my age, 26 years old, Chris and I's age, 26 years old. What's your piece of advice?
I would tell you that probably it's really important to savor every moment because you just never know what's going to happen. And just be a real person. You know, you tell somebody you're going to do something, you do it. Be a genuine, authentic person that people can count on. That is, to me, been one of the most important things that has worked for me.
I love it.
And Mike, you've done insurance and real estate. Obviously, you've done it at the highest level. And kind of going back to Dominic's question, in terms of just like, you know, business advice, You know, you have a lot of people in our audience, you know, with entrepreneurship. We've had entrepreneurs on before. Just to give like one quick tip, something that you would give, you know, a 25, 26-year-old, someone who just maybe they went to college, maybe they didn't, maybe they studied business, maybe they want to get into a business. You know, what advice would you give them? Everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Elevate Cleveland podcast. Dominic, wrap it up for us.
As Chris stated at the beginning of this podcast, we are licensed loan originators for the best mortgage company in the land. That is Liberty Home Mortgage. Guys, if you or anybody you know is looking to purchase or refinance a home, doesn't matter if you've done this 1, 10, or 100 times, call us, email us. The email is in the description below. Reach out to that email. In the subject line, put looking to purchase / refinance a home. Whatever it is your goal is, Chris and I will reach out to you within 24 hours, and we look forward to helping you with whatever it is your specific home goal is. Thank you.
I think you have to just show up, and you've got to find a mentor or somebody that you can learn from. I mean, it's funny because now at my age, I'm hearing things that I heard when I was your age from guys that I started with in the insurance business. Some of the things they said to me, I now see have come true, and but it's just you just got to do it. I mean, you got to get up every day, and you just got to, plow forward. Mm-hmm. Try to take one step further ahead every day.
Just nose to the grindstone,
exactly.
Put the work in.
Simple. Put
right,
the work
but
in,
it's all about lead generation. That never changes, no matter what business you're in. I don't care if you're insurance, mortgage, real estate. Whether you own,
cars,
I mean, any business you start, if you're a dog groomer, you got to have people, coming in with their dogs.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's just all about, getting people into a database and then working that database and, continuously to work that, because repeat customers are way more valuable.
Yeah. So big takeaway, obviously, Chris, I think is show up. Obviously, you have to refine yourself as somebody who's a hard worker. Well, once you have obviously become that type of individual to where you can show up in any scenario, that hard work is what's going to be put out. You could see your way out of anything. I pretty much is what I'm getting from this is action your way out of anything, right? Just put the daily work in. You're not going to see the overnight success. Rarely. Sometimes you do. But it's a journey. It's a long journey, right? You've been in this business for, almost, 18 plus years, right? 18 plus years. And I think you would even argue as well, strongly to the point that it's a long journey. It doesn't happen overnight.
No,
it's a long
it does
journey.
not happen overnight, and that's a lot of people don't have patience for it, and things can happen faster today than they did when we started because of social media and all the stuff that's available to help you, to get out there more than it was in the past. But it is a long journey no matter what. That's
right. Well, Mike, we appreciate you coming on. It's been absolutely great speaking with you and having you on here. Chris, you have any final thoughts for us?
No, I mean, Mike, if I'm a first-time home buyer, how do I find you? Just type your name in?
Google the Incorvaia Team. You'll find us. We'll come up.
Yeah?
The Incorvaia Team. There it is.
Hopefully you'll be in one of our databases somewhere. And
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. Very simple. Find them on Google, the Incorvaia Team. Reach out to them if you're looking to buy, list, sell a home. Does not matter. Any real estate questions, reach out to them. Mike, again, thank you so much. Chris, always great co-hosting this with you, and we look forward to next week.
Absolutely.
Thank you all.
All righty.